Violence does call me, I've answered before. I've made many enemies, I've settled my scores. But I did grow weary and I settled down, and proudly bore the weight of my crown.
I lived on my lonesome away in the far, where there was no violence to trouble my heart. I'd hung up my sword and I'd raised up my hoe, and I lied as I said that I ne'er would go.
But came a cry from a man that I'd known, someone to whom rare compassion I'd shown, and so I opened up my door to the man who promised me blood and gore.
Oh, woe to thee, ye people of order! I hope your homes continue to smolder, and that you never rise again, and leave me be, and leave my friends.
I followed him far to a distant land, where he had been exiled by one single man. His horns, they were wicked, his power was great, and you looked in his eyes and were swallowed by hate.
He took me to shelter his humble abode, a pitiful cavern his comrades called home. He handed me bedding and bid me adieu, and I sat and I pondered on what I should do.
For I craved violence, I craved to be free from the people who wish to control me. Yes, I believe in anarchy's reign, and I know the dictators only bring pain.
Oh, woe to thee, ye people of order! I hope your homes continue to smolder, and that you never rise again. And woe to those who called me a friend.
I prepared for battle, I hoarded and schemed, but I did not know all was not what it seemed. My allies unstable, their loyalty thin. Guess we would have victory, but what would we win? The battle was chaos, blood roared in my ears. A chain of explosion, they looked up with fear. They set up a leader and shouted her raise, and I shuddered and realized that I'd been betrayed.
Is this what you want? Corruption and power? Well, I won't stand for it. This is my hour. Take on these beasts. I'm now friend to none. Oh, woe to thee, ye people of order! I hope your homes continue to smolder, and that you'll never rise again. And woe to those who called me a friend.
I fled until silence was all I could hear. The voices once screaming now hummed in my ears. The cold, it was lonely, but I was alone, and I promised that I'd not let blood taint my home.
But then came a message from my only friend. A warrior, hide or else this is the end. They bound up my wings and they hunt for your head. They promised me justice, but they'll see you dead.
They came to me with an armed battalion, held an axe to my innocent stallion, and said, now it is your turn to bow. See how the king has fallen now.
They raised an anvil and laid me below. They thought to crush me, painful and slow, but I did live and I did flee, and I put my pick through the butcher's teeth.
Oh, woe to the people of order! I hope your homes continue to smolder, and that you never rise again. And woe to those who called me a friend.
returned from battle all tattered and worn, and stumbled upon a poor child forlorn. He told me his story, he told me his woes, as I thought up a plan for our mutual foes.
I stealthily went to familiar lands as I gathered my weapons and laid out my plans. But when the poor child spoke with friends he had known, he abandoned our mission and left me alone.
I gathered my hounds and made them devour the allies I once knew. Sweet friendships now sour, and let explosions ring from on high, and I gladly bid my final goodbye.
Oh, woe to thee, ye people of order, I hope your homes continue to smolder, and that you'll never rise again. And woe to those who called me a friend.
Oh, woe to thee, people of order, I hope your homes continue to smolder, and that you'll never rise again. And woe to those who called me a friend. Oh, woe to thee, people of order, I hope your homes continue to smolder, and that you'll never rise again. And woe to those who called me a friend.
Woe to thee, people of order, I hope your homes continue to smolder, and that you'll never rise again. Now leave me be, for this is the end.
In one of his final public appearances, evidently foreshadowing his own death, while knowing full well he was knocking on its frigid doorstep, Norm joked that the idea of someone losing their battle of cancer was an antiquated phrase and should be outdated, because, as he so eloquently put it,
my Uncle Bert, he's my great uncle, but we call him Uncle Bert. He got bowel cancer now. He's dying of it, you know. And, or like some people like to say, now they, see, in the old days, a man could just get sick and die, you know. Now they have to wage a battle. So my Uncle Bert is waging a courageous battle. And the reason I don't like it is because in the old days they go, hey, that old man died. Now they go, hey, he lost his battle. That's no way to end your life, you know. What a loser that guy was. Last thing he did was lose. He was waging a brave battle, but at the end, I guess he got kind of cowardly was what happened. And then the bowel cancer, it got brave. You got to give it to the bowel cancer. You know, they were in a battle, and then what the And I'm pretty sure, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure if the cancer dies, I mean, if you die, the cancer also dies at exactly the same time. So that, to me, is not a loss, that's a draw. That's a, you know what I mean?
Technoblade never lost his battle with cancer. It ended in a tie. He never lost, because Technoblade never loses, and
say it with me. Even close, baby! Technoblade never dies!